you satisfied, happy, miserable? Are you looking for love in all the wrong places? It's time for the Michele Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Tune in daily and join our controversial topics as we talk about single, sex, and men and women's issues. And now, for the Queen of Relationships on the Michele Hughes Show, always keeping it real. Your host, Michele Hughes.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Michele Hughes Show. Yes, I'm Michele Hughes and I'm your Queen of Relationships. I'm here to give you positive information that's going to help you have better relationships. And I am so happy when I get emails from you because it lets me know that you are listening and that you are in need of relationship help. And I am your coach, and we want to thank you for coming and joining us each and every day, Monday through Friday, yes, 7:30 to 8 o'clock. This is your time to get some tips, some information that's going to help you have a better relationship. Well, you know, we always have a topic for you. And tonight, we are going to be talking about relationships being controlled by stress. Oh, that's not an easy journey to feel when we are feeling the most uncomfortable, when we are feeling pulled by many directions because someone is not meeting a need. And you can give all you want in the relationship, but if that person is not pulling their weight and helping you understand the importance of having a great relationship, it's going to make it very difficult for you to really have a relationship that's balanced. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, is having a balanced relationship. But not only that, having a relationship where you both understand what stress is. I'm going to read a quote, and it's by Catherine. And it says here, how we perceive a situation and how we react to it is the basis of our stress. If you focus on the negative in any situation, you can expect high stress levels. However, if you try and see the good in the situation, your stress levels will greatly diminish. That's a powerful word, what she just gave you. Because if we dwell on the negative and not try to figure out, well, where is this negativity coming from? Why are we feeling stress in this relationship at this moment? And the only person can answer those questions would be the two of you. But if you never talk about it, if you just keep skirting it, think it's going to go away, oh, he's going to get better, oh, she's going to get better, she's going to come around. Well, maybe she doesn't even know that this situation is bothering you. So if you never talk about it, I can guarantee you it's not going to go away. And these are the things that we have to talk about to make it better. If you want stress to be eliminated from your relationship, you have to talk about it. If you don't talk about it, you are going to find yourself feeling, oh my God, what's going on? Why am I feeling this way? And so that's why we're here tonight, to delve into those areas that you know that's bringing you the most discomfort. And so I have some things that maybe you might be saying, well, I don't know exactly what you're talking about, Michele. Well, stress in your relationship can be caused by, I'm going to give you 7 areas that we're going to talk about that can cause some stress. You can cause stress by having, 1, arguments, or 2, you're shouting. You're not talking to one another, but it's like he's screaming, you screaming, and no one's listening. 3, criticism. 4, it could be an illness that's causing stress. Maybe one of you realize that maybe in the relationship someone is not at their best health, and so now it's bringing stress into the relationship. Or 5, death of a loved one. Maybe one of you all have lost of someone that you cared about, and it's bringing stress into the relationship. Or abuse. Maybe they know someone who's being abused, or maybe you're being abused in the relationship, so that's bringing on stress. Or 7, someone's cheating on the other person while you're in the relationship. Now that's going to bring stress because the 2 of you are not married, and so therefore you are feeling the stress that you shouldn't be feeling, because you can leave anytime you feel like it, but this person, you're finding out that their behavior has changed. And so you're trying to figure out, well, why doesn't he call me like he used to maybe during his lunch hour? Or why isn't she cooking dinner like she used to when I come home from work, and she would invite me over to her home and she would have dinner there for me? She's not doing those things like she used to. So you start seeing a little behavior changes that wasn't there previously. I'm going to read what Maureen says. She says, stress is not what happens to us. It's our response to what happens. And response is something we can choose. So we can choose to how we respond to the stress that you are feeling at that moment. You can decide to say, I'm going to talk about it, or I'm not going to. Like many people, they don't deal with it, but it doesn't take away what's happening to you, especially if you feel that you are being given or being treated in a way that you're not really happy about. And so that's not going to make you feel good at all. What about when a person feels like they're being manipulated? This is not going to help the relationship stay healthy or balanced. So what you have to do is you have to begin to balance the relationship out. Each partner is essential in making the relationship work for each other. It's not a you do, I do this, and you don't have to make me feel better. No, we all should be helping the relationship grow. And so some of the behaviors that we have to get away from is we have to stop allowing these behaviors to take root in our relationship. One is selfishness. Selfishness will deteriorate any relationship. If one person is always thinking that the other person is always having to meet their needs, then that person's going to feel kind of slighted in some way, because they feel like they're always giving and you're not participating. So somewhere you got to begin to say, either I want this relationship to work, and if I want it to work, I got to do away with the selfishness. It's not going to help us. It's not making our relationship better. If anything, it's taking away from the relationship, the selfishness. 2 is being a victim. Sometimes we feel like we're the victim in the relationship. That victim mentality. Oh, woe is me. I'm always the one doing everything. You don't participate in anything. You don't do anything. You don't help out in any way to make this relationship work. That's a victim mentality. 3 is being a doormat, where you feel like I'm just a doormat. This person's taking advantage of me. Whatever they want, they get, and they never try to meet my needs. And so if you feel like you're the only person who's meeting the needs of the relationship, somehow you're going to feel like I'm a doormat or a pushover. Number 4 is pushover. Same difference. You feel like I'm a pushover for whatever they tell me. I agree just to keep the peace in the relationship. Or 5, the other person's not being a giver. You feel like you're always giving because they're never giving. Or 6, unrealistic expectations of you. They want you to just run mountains over everything while they sit back and just enjoy the ride. Or 7, disappointments. And 8 is resentments. And so when you go over this list, you'll begin to see yourself in some way, you see. But this is what I believe, that if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but it's to your estimate of it. And this, you have the power to revoke at any time. In other words, anytime you're feeling the stress of everything's just coming against you, then as Richard Carlson says, he said, don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. So in other words, take the pressure off of you. Begin to say, I don't have to accept this. No matter what's happening, I don't have to accept the behavior, what this person is making me feel at this moment. I don't have to accept it. You can begin to take that rightful position and take back your life. You don't have to sit back and just enjoy the ride. You can begin to, I would say, pray about the situation. Ask God to take that lift off of you so that you won't feel all the burden of everything's just being just put on you, that you feel you can't breathe almost. No, begin to say enough is enough. And how you're going to say enough is enough is that you are going to not accept everything that's happening to you. You're going to make some time where you say, I'm going to sit down with my partner and we're going to have to talk about what's going on, what I'm feeling at this moment. And if you don't sit down and tell that person, they'll never know what you are feeling. Listen, I have a letter that I'm going to read from a person who's going through some of the things that you might be feeling at this time. But we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and we're going to finish this conversation.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back as we deal with more heart-to-heart issues. This is the Queen of Relationships on the Michele Hughes Show, where we keep it real. Stay with us on the Michele Hughes Show. It's the Michele Hughes Show. We keep it real. We talk about singles, sex, men and women issues. Come join the conversation on the Michele Hughes Show.
That's right. It's the Michele Hughes Show, and we don't want you to miss anything that we have on the show. And that's why we are thanking you for coming each day and listening to our topics, because we are here to help you grow. Yes, we want to help you grow in your relationships. And it gives us pleasure to know that every time you come, you are receiving something that's making you feel a little better about your relationship, giving you hope that this relationship is good. It's going to grow, and I'm believing in my partner, and we're going to take away all this stress. But tonight, I have a letter from Gwen, and she wrote me, and she says, Dear Michele, I am dating my true love. However, he is always finding something wrong with me. And I see his faults, but I never tell him. Should I? Because I don't want to seem like it's a tooth for a tooth. Please give me your opinion. Thanks, Gwen. Well, Gwen, I understand. Sometimes we don't want the person to, think that we are, tit for tat. I understand that. But it comes a time when you have to let the person know how you feel. And if you never tell them, they'll never know. And so this is the time for you to begin to be truthful and let that person know what you don't like about him always criticizing you, and that you have some things that you don't like about him too. And no, it's not a 2 for 2. You're just expressing how you feel. You don't have to do it maybe at the same time he's doing it to you, but at that time he's expressing what he doesn't like about you. Maybe you just tell him, okay, maybe I'll make some adjustments in the areas that you're telling me, but I have some areas that I like to express to you. And so you may do it like that, or you may not say anything and just say, I accept those things that you're telling me, and I'll try to do the best I can in making some improvements. Or, like I said, you can just go back and tell him, well, you know what, honey, there's some things I don't like concerning how you are dealing with me at this time. And I would appreciate it if you would make some changes in some areas. So you can go on and tell him some of the areas that you would like to see some changes from him, just as well as he's telling you, or as you say, criticizing you about the areas, or finding fault. That's what you say, finding fault in the areas that he's finding wrong about you. So it's not tit for tat, but if you have those things that you have about him, then no, it's only fair that you let him know. Why are you holding back? A relationship is not a relationship where you can't express how you feel, because that's like being subjective, and remember we're talking about being manipulated. It's almost like you're feeling like, in order for me to keep this relationship going, then I have to, not say anything, just be a yes person. Also, like one of the areas was saying, being a pushover. So you'll start being, instead of being positive, you start seeing yourself as being this one who's just taking low and taking all the abuse, and and you're not giving back anything because you're trying to keep peace in the relationship. When in actuality, Gwen, you're feeling all the above. So you don't have to attack him in a negative way, but you can let him know in a truthful way, but just in a loving way. And what I mean by loving, choose your words. I believe that the reason why most people are feeling stressed today is that we wait until the most, just a time when you really shouldn't be expressing yourself, when you're angry. And so this is the time you express to your partner how you feel, and now he can't take it because or receive it from you because you're too angry for him to even understand what you're going through. So if you would just, what you're doing is good, is not expressing anything, because if you feel that you're going to go off on him, you did the right thing. But then you got to find a time to tell him, Gwen, those areas that you don't appreciate in him too. And I think it's only right that you tell him, and no, it's not a 2 for 2. So I hope you got that, Gwen. And so email me back and let me know if I've given you some information that's going to help you in solving the problem that you and your friend are having at this time. You see, people, I believe that stress can kill you, because people die each and every day from cancer and heart failure, and I mean, people are just, I believe, leaving out of here because of stress. And we may say, oh no, oh yes, stress, if not dealt with properly, can take you out of here. And so if we don't begin to interact in our relationship in a more positive way, instead of being stressful and telling people things that we're going to regret in the end, then no, it's not going to help you or the other person. So you bring the attention, but you don't do it in a negative way. It said that attention not being met by either partners will cause a major breakdown in the relationship. So the attention you're not giving, it's going to bring a major breakdown in your relationship. So it's important that you begin to give a healthy balance. Example is needing or asking for too much attention is not a balance. But asking to spend more time with your mate, it's not saying that it's not being balanced, but it's how you do it. It's, if you say, well, you're not here at all, and you're making him feel bad about what he's doing, now that's going to bring stress into the relationship. But when you begin to talk to your mate and ask him for the things that you need, and you begin to tell him some of the things you need, that will begin to bring a balance in the relationship, and it's going to take away all that stress, you see. So if you feel your needs are not being met, that should be a sure warning sign to you. If you feel that your needs are not being met, then maybe something's going on in that relationship. Maybe, did you ever think maybe he's with another individual who's meeting his needs but just doesn't want to end the relationship with you, or vice versa to the man. And so there are many signs that we're being given to let us know when the relationship is coming to an end, to a close. We may not want it to come to a close, but if the other person is no longer attentive to you, they're not giving you the things that they once gave you in the relationship. Now, we know relationships always are changing, but there are some things that you know that you are going to need no matter what. And those are those emotional things that we get from each other, those emotional needs. And so when you feel shut out from your partner's life, then something's not being met. Those emotional needs, the attention that you need from that person it's not there anymore. And so you're going to have to begin to ask yourself some questions. And the only way you can do it is by sitting your partner down and being honest and being truthful to that person. We just play so many games. We see our relationships not progressing at the point we think it should, but instead we play these games. Oh, he's going to get better. Oh no, why is he not coming home at the time he used to come to my home and visit me, or whatever the case may be. You see the things changing. Now, if you don't sit down and talk about it before you get heated, he's mad, you're mad, and now you're going to try to talk. No, that's not good. Find a point in your relationship where you're out to dinner, or maybe after dinner you may go for a ride, and you in the car or something. Just find a time where you can go, maybe look at the water. Find a time where you're relaxed to talk about those things that are bothering you, so that you won't find your life being so stressed out. People, life is too short, and it should be lived to the fullest for us to live our lives just being stressed out day in and day out. We find ourselves not having conversations that we should be having with people because we just think it's just going to go away. And then when you see the person, you think, okay, it's going to get better. No, it's not going to get better, especially if you have it in the back part of your mind and it's bothering you. If it's bothering you for a reason. And so I'm not talking about a person who just everything is explosive. No, I'm talking about people who are legitimately finding things going not as smooth as they used to be. And so those are the things that you shouldn't sit back and not question. I believe it will help your relationship if we would begin to stop thinking it's me. Maybe it's just in my mind. No, if the thought is there, I believe that's the spirit trying to tell you that you need to bring attention to this, or pray about it. Like I said, pray about it. But if you know it needs more than prayer, then you need to talk about it, because you won't get those answers. Some of those answers you need to talk about if it's really stressing you to a point of no return. Now, if you think that prayer is not going to, alleviate what you're going through, then no, you need to talk to that person so that they'll understand where you're coming from. I hope that this message concerning relationships, the problems that we are having, being controlled by stress in our relationships, if we don't begin to find some equal medium to bring some peace in our relationship, we're just going to go from one year to the next year feeling that same feeling of, sometimes people feel isolated, they feel alone, but yet and still they say they have a partner. Now, I know your partner can't meet every need that you may have, but there's some needs that you must have in order for that to even be a relationship. And if you know those major needs are not being met, why are you stressing yourself out? You might be time to say, adios, amigo. It's time for us to move on. Yes. And that's not always the worst thing to do. If you have talked to the person and they still seem to not listen to or make any changes, then you need to make some changes within yourself and begin to say, well, if you are not hearing me, maybe we need some time to think about how important this relationship is. In other words, maybe you need to say, well, let's just not see each other for maybe a month or two. And maybe the closure of not seeing you will help that person to realize how important the relationship is. You know, my dad told me one time, if it's worth having, you need to understand that if there's a little separation, then if it's meant to be, then the two of you will come back together. But if it's not meant to be, you're not going to come back together. And I'm not trying to bring havoc in anyone's relationship. But what I'm saying is that, what else can you say? If everything that you're looking for is not being met, why are you there? I mean, if nothing's being met, then if nothing but stress is bringing more stress into your life, it's not bringing peace. And where you really enjoy the individual is more stressful than where you enjoy the individual. You need to begin to say, maybe this is not the person for me. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow when some of us have spent years and months with people and the relationship is not going anywhere. But we keep saying, oh, he loves me or she loves me. Well, what is it that person love about you? Why don't you begin to write down those things? And I'm a writer, really I am. And I just write down the specifics, write down the things that you enjoy about the person. And I feel, and write down the things that you don't enjoy about the person. And if the negatives outweigh the positive, that should be your answer. And I'm not trying to say you should leave the person that you love. But if you love that person, if that person loves you, they should be willing to say, I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to some of the areas that you're asking me to make some changes in. If you're not willing to make the changes, you're just going to stay there and just be stressed out. What's the point? Again, life is too short for that, to be miserable. You should enjoy life, and I believe the person that you're with, you're going to have your differences of opinions. Now, that's just automatic. But when it gets to the point where the stress is making you go take pills, go to the doctor, and it's stressing you out to no end, no, I'm sorry. I don't know what you want to call that, but it might not be love. It might be that you're with the wrong partner. And this is not the partner you should want to spend a lifetime with, because that person should be willing to listen to you and bring out the best in you and vice versa. Now, as we know, no relationship is perfect, but there should be some equal mediums where we are able to agree on, well, you know what, honey? You know what? Yes. Well, maybe we should do more things together. Oh, I'm sorry the way I've been talking to you. I'm going to make some efforts to say, I'm going to think about what I'm saying before I speak to you. I mean, those are, incentives to let you know that that person is listening to you, and vice versa to the man. If he's saying, honey, everything, it has to be your way. You always want your way about everything. And sometimes I want my way. And right now, I need you to make some changes in this area. And so, and then you should be able to say, well, yes, okay, I don't see anything wrong with the things that you're asking me to do. I'm willing to make the changes because I love you for who you are. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make our relationship work. And if it means making some sacrifices in some areas to help you understand who I am, then I'm willing to do that, because I believe those sacrifices is not going to make me or it's not going to break me. If a person's not asking you to go to the bank and take all your money out the bank and give it to them, come on now, these things shouldn't be major things that you should be making so many amendments that you can't do. It's just common things that we have to do. If you're in a relationship, you got to make some adjustments, because if you don't make those adjustments, the relationship is not going to grow. And we want you all to have healthy relationships. I want to come to some weddings where I'm seeing more singles understanding what it is to make those sacrifices and be able to talk with one another without having all that stress and being controlling. Yes, we can do it if we learn to respect one another and respect each other's wishes. Well, you know what we do here. We keep it real.
Thanks for tuning in to the Michele Hughes Show. Join us daily for more hot topics with the Queen of Relationships. Always keeping it real. See you tomorrow on the Michele Hughes Show.